Losing personal freedom, bit by bit. At first, moving into a nursing home seemed like a sensible idea. It offered safety, convenience, and help, especially as health declined and daily tasks became more challenging. It was introduced as a practical, even compassionate decision. Meals would be prepared, medications handled, and assistance would always be available. There would be no need to worry about slipping in the shower or forgetting medication. Everything would be managed. What wasn't immediately clear was the gradual loss of personal freedom. It didn't disappear all at once. Instead, it faded in small ways, so subtle they were hardly noticeable at first. One day, breakfast was served at 7 a.m. Whether or not you were hungry didn't matter. That was when breakfast arrived. Another day, someone else picked your outfit. The caregiver had good intentions, but the decision wasn't yours. You simply wore what was chosen. Then, bedtime arrived earlier than expected because it fit the staff's schedule. A walk outside? Only during set hours, and only with approval. The caregivers weren't unkind or mean. Most were caring, doing their best under the limits of a structured system. But the system prioritized efficiency and safety over independence. The schedule needed to work for everyone, not just you. Individual preferences slowly gave way to the facility's routine. That's how freedom vanished. Not all at once, but through quiet losses of daily decisions. First, your mealtime, then your clothing, then your bedtime, and eventually your ability to leave your room. It was always justified as being in your best interest, but the result remained. Your life was no longer fully your own. The saddest part is how easy it was to let go of these choices. They seemed so minor. What harm is there in letting someone else choose your clothes? Why complain about eating a bit earlier? At first, it felt like a small price to pay for comfort and care. But over time, the accumulation of tiny sacrifices built a life that no longer felt like yours. Freedom didn't vanish with a loud noise, but with a soft hush. Every small decision taken from you pulled a thread from the fabric of your identity. And when too many threads are gone, what remains is no longer whole. Once lost, that freedom is almost impossible to reclaim. Systems aren't built to restore it. Routines are locked in. Expectations are fixed. Even speaking up can be dismissed as confusion or resistance. Asserting yourself becomes a problem to be handled. This story isn't just about nursing homes. It's a broader warning about how freedom can be lost. Slowly, quietly, and often with your own agreement. The threat doesn't lie in one big surrender, but in many small ones. The message is simple. Protect your freedom fiercely, even in the smallest choices. Because once it begins to fade, it doesn't come with warnings. It disappears quietly, one small moment at a time. The feeling of being forgotten and alone. At first, things felt comforting. When the elderly move into a nursing home, their family often visits regularly. Children, grandchildren, siblings, all come with smiles, warm hugs, and stories from the outside world. There are promises. We'll visit every week. You won't be alone. We're just a phone call away. And in those early days, those promises are kept. The sense of connection is still strong. There's still a place in the family's circle. But time changes everything. Gradually, the visits become less frequent. Life outside moves on, fast and unyielding. Children get busy with work. Grandchildren grow up, absorbed in school, sports, and friendships. Phone calls become less frequent. Messages are fewer and often hurried. There is no ill intent. It's simply that people get caught up in their own lives. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. The elderly person waits. They watch the door. They mark the calendar. They remember birthdays, anniversaries, and the small traditions that used to hold the family together. But those dates pass quietly, with no one arriving to share them. The staff at the home may offer comfort, but it's not the same. Their care is professional, not personal. The warmth of family cannot be replaced. And slowly, an unbearable feeling starts to take hold. They are being forgotten. It's not just the absence of visits. It's the feeling of being removed from the rhythm of family life. They're no longer part of group chats, holiday plans, or spontaneous get-togethers. Decisions are made without them. Family pictures are taken without them. They begin to disappear, not just from the room, but from the family's daily thoughts. Out of sight, out of mind. This slow disconnection leads to a deep, quiet loneliness. It isn't loud or dramatic. It's a hollow silence that stretches through the hours, especially in the evenings. It's the pain of knowing that the people who once leaned on you, laughed with you, and loved you now live lives in which you barely exist. In the nursing home, there may be events, other residents, and kind staff, but those things cannot replace the bond of family. Friendships there are often short-lived. People come and go, some pass away, others are lost in their own decline. The deep sense of belonging to something lasting is missing. The most painful realization is the feeling of no longer being essential. For decades, you were central to your family. You raised children, gave advice, offered support, made sacrifices. But now, it feels like your role has ended. You're still alive, but not truly in anyone's life. You're becoming a memory in progress, someone people once knew well, now slowly fading into the background. This is the cruel reality of aging in modern society. We live longer, but not always better. And in all our busyness, we forget that what the elderly need most isn't money, gifts, or packages. It's presence. Real, human, emotional presence. Being forgotten is a slow kind of mourning. It's the sorrow of still being here while watching life go on without you. The lesson is simple and often overlooked. Don't let those who once held you close fade into the shadows. Visit them. Call them. Include them. Because nothing wounds the soul more than feeling invisible to those you love. Losing the sense of daily purpose. There was a time when life felt meaningful, even in the smallest ways. Each morning began with a routine: boiling water, grinding coffee beans, pouring a warm cup while the sun peeked through the kitchen window. The plants needed watering. The dishes needed doing. Maybe a neighbor would stop by for a short chat. These weren't grand, world-changing acts, but they brought structure. They brought a quiet kind of fulfillment. Even sweeping the floor or folding laundry gave a sense of contribution. The day had a rhythm. You knew what needed to be done, and at the end of it, there was a calm satisfaction that something, however small, was accomplished. Life had texture. Life had purpose. But once someone moves into a nursing home, that sense of daily purpose often slips away. In the name of care and convenience, everything is done for you. Meals are prepared and served. Laundry is washed and folded. The bed is made. The floor is cleaned. The medicine is brought at the right hour. There's no more need to cook, to clean, to fix, to plan. And while that might sound like relief at first, especially for someone who spent a lifetime taking care of others, it soon becomes an empty kind of freedom. With nothing left to do, the hours stretch endlessly. Days begin to blur together. You wake up, sit through meals, attend a scheduled activity, and then return to your room. There's little to look forward to, no pressing task, no project waiting. The clock ticks slowly, and you begin to wonder, what is my role now? Purpose isn't just about productivity. It's about feeling useful, feeling needed. It's about the belief that your presence still matters in some tangible way. Without that, a subtle kind of erosion begins to take place inside. The spirit dulls, enthusiasm fades, energy vanishes, not because the body is weak, but because the soul is unstimulated. In the absence of responsibility, many begin to question their worth. Why am I still here? Becomes a haunting thought. There are no plants to care for, no pets to feed, no meals to cook for a loved one. Instead, each task is outsourced. Each decision is made by someone else. The hands that once nurtured a family now rest idle in their lap, unsure of what to reach for. This emotional void can be even more damaging than physical illness. When you lose your sense of usefulness, you lose a vital part of your identity. The mind becomes a cage of memory and routine, rather than a living space of growth and contribution. What people often forget is that small acts of purpose are what sustain us, especially in old age. Being able to choose what to wear, decide when to eat, or take care of a plant can bring back a sense of autonomy. Having a reason to get out of bed, no matter how minor, is deeply powerful. It reminds the elderly that they are not just patients to be managed, but individuals who still have something to give. The challenge is that in modern care systems, efficiency often overrides meaning. We do things for the elderly, when sometimes doing things with them, or better yet, letting them do things for themselves, can make all the difference. Because in the end, it's not comfort alone that makes life worth living. It's purpose. And without it, even the most well-catered life can feel unbearably empty. Rapid physical decline in the absence of daily activity. The human body was never designed for idleness. It thrives on movement, on routine, on the small physical challenges of daily life. In earlier years, physical activity came naturally, walking to the market, preparing meals in the kitchen, bending down to tie shoelaces, reaching up to put away groceries, sweeping the floor, taking a stroll after dinner. These seemingly mundane actions kept the body strong, flexible, and engaged. But when an elderly person enters a nursing home, much of that natural movement disappears almost overnight. In the name of care and safety, residents are often discouraged from doing too much. Staff members, with the best intentions, take over the tasks that once provided subtle but essential physical exercise. Meals are brought on trays. Rooms are cleaned by someone else. Groceries are no longer needed because food is pre-prepared. Even walking is limited, replaced by wheelchairs for convenience or caution. What starts as comfort quickly turns into decline. Muscles, once kept healthy through use, begin to waste away from disuse. Joints stiffen. Balance worsens. Strength fades. The act of standing up from a chair becomes difficult. A short walk down the hallway feels exhausting. Before long, what was once possible with ease, like dressing oneself, using the bathroom independently, or climbing a small set of stairs, becomes nearly impossible. This decline doesn't happen gradually. It accelerates rapidly when movement is removed from daily life. The body adapts to inactivity by shutting down functions it no longer needs. And the worst part, once this strength is lost, it becomes incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to get it back. Over-resting, which is often mistaken for self-care, becomes a trap. When older adults stop using their bodies regularly, they lose confidence in their ability to move safely. This fear often leads to even less movement, creating a dangerous cycle. Less movement leads to more weakness, which leads to more dependence, which leads to even less movement. It doesn't take long for someone who once walked independently to become reliant on walkers, then wheelchairs, then full-time caregivers. The loss of autonomy is not just physical, it's emotional. When you can no longer get out of bed without assistance or go to the bathroom on your own, your identity starts to change. You no longer feel like a capable adult. You start to feel like a burden. This dependency can be devastating. Not because care is wrong, but because unnecessary dependency strips away dignity. And in many cases, it could have been delayed or prevented by maintaining daily movement, even in small amounts. Simple routines, like stretching in the morning, walking around the garden, folding laundry, or standing to make tea, can help maintain muscle tone, balance, and joint health. Encouraging older adults to stay active within safe limits is not a luxury. It's a necessity. The body doesn't ask for much to maintain itself. A bit of walking, a bit of standing, a few deep breaths, and some stretching. But it does ask for consistency. And when that consistency is taken away, even in the name of rest or convenience, the consequences can be swift and severe. In short, when we stop moving, we start fading. True care means protecting not just the body from harm, but also nurturing its natural strength for as long as possible. The goal is not to prevent every fall, but to prevent the slow collapse that comes from doing nothing at all. The loss of privacy and dignity. One of the hardest aspects of living in a nursing home is the gradual erosion of personal privacy and the associated loss of dignity. For those who have spent their lives managing their own affairs, the shift from independence to dependency can be incredibly difficult, especially when the small freedoms that once defined daily life are taken away. In a nursing home, privacy is often a luxury few can afford. Many residents share rooms, and even those who have private rooms find themselves surrounded by the constant presence of staff and other residents. Everything becomes a shared experience, from meals to bathroom visits, from personal conversations to simple moments of quiet. Perhaps the most disheartening aspect of this loss is the control over basic daily activities. Imagine waking up and having to wait for someone to come in and help you get out of bed, only to be told when you can go to the bathroom, when you can take a shower, or when it's time to eat. The timetable is no longer yours to decide. It's dictated by the facility's schedule, which may or may not align with your natural rhythms and needs. This lack of control over one's daily routine can be deeply frustrating. For someone who used to decide when to eat, when to sleep, and when to enjoy moments of solitude, being told when and how to do everything is a blow to their sense of self. The loss of autonomy can feel like the loss of identity itself. People begin to feel less like individuals and more like patients or cases, defined by their physical needs rather than their personal preferences. The feeling of being constantly watched and monitored is also pervasive. In many nursing homes, staff members need to check on residents frequently, sometimes at intervals as short as every hour. While these checks are intended to ensure safety, they also strip away the sense of privacy that every person deserves, regardless of their age or condition. Simple acts like changing clothes, using the bathroom, or resting are no longer private, as caregivers are required to assist, supervise, or observe at all times. For many elderly residents, this constant supervision is a reminder of their vulnerability, and it can create a profound sense of powerlessness. When basic personal needs are subject to the schedules and permissions of others, it's easy to feel as though you are no longer in charge of your own life. This loss of control over time can damage one's sense of dignity, making it difficult to retain a feeling of self-worth. Moreover, the lack of privacy can make emotional connections with others more difficult. When you share a room with another person, especially one who may have very different needs or habits, you lose the quiet solitude that many people rely on for personal reflection or relaxation. This can lead to feelings of isolation, even in a place filled with people. As a result, nursing home residents often feel marginalized. They are not viewed as people with rich histories, stories, or desires. Instead, they are treated as patients who need to be taken care of, with little regard for their personal preferences, boundaries, or dignity. It's essential to remember that every human being deserves privacy, respect, and autonomy, regardless of age or physical condition. The simple ability to choose when to shower, when to eat, or when to rest is a fundamental part of maintaining one's dignity. A nursing home should strive to find a balance between providing care and preserving the personal rights of its residents. No one should feel that they have lost their right to decide what happens in their own lives, especially in their later years. In conclusion, the loss of privacy and autonomy in nursing homes is not just a matter of convenience. It is a deeply emotional and psychological issue. It takes away the very essence of what it means to be a human being and can lead to feelings of humiliation, helplessness, and despair. The dignity of elderly individuals should never be compromised, and efforts should always be made to ensure that they are treated with the respect and personal freedom they deserve. The difficulty of returning to old life. One of the most heartbreaking realities of entering a nursing home is the sense that it may be nearly impossible to return to the life that once existed. For many, the transition into a facility marks the end of a chapter, but not in the way they might have expected. The idea that one could easily leave and return to a previous, more independent life often turns out to be an illusion. When a person moves into a nursing home, a series of significant life changes may already be underway. For many elderly individuals, their homes may have already been sold or emptied out, as family members might not be able or willing to care for them at home. This makes the idea of returning to a familiar environment, one that provided comfort, security, and independence, seem like an impossible dream. The home that once felt like a sanctuary is no longer available as a safe retreat. Moreover, a person's health is often in decline by the time they need to move into a nursing home. Chronic illnesses, disabilities, and aging-related health issues can make it difficult, if not outright impossible, to manage daily activities without assistance. The decline in health is not just physical, it can also be emotional and mental. Once in the nursing home, residents may feel that they have lost not only their physical abilities, but also their sense of control over their own lives. This loss of health and independence can diminish the possibility of returning to an old way of living, leaving many with a sense of finality. Financially, moving into a nursing home often comes with a steep cost. Many individuals entering care facilities are living on fixed incomes, and the expenses associated with long-term care can quickly drain a person's savings. In many cases, people spend all their remaining funds on medical bills, care services, and daily necessities. This financial strain can make it impossible to afford the resources required to leave the facility and live independently again. The economic burden is one of the most significant obstacles to returning to a previous life, as many families have exhausted their resources in securing care for their loved ones. Additionally, by the time someone is settled in a nursing home, their confidence in their ability to live independently has often eroded. The initial move may be motivated by a desire to be safe and secure, but over time, many residents begin to doubt their own abilities. Their sense of self-reliance is gradually replaced by the comfort of knowing someone is always there to help. This shift in mindset can make it difficult for someone to imagine living on their own again. The idea of regaining autonomy seems almost out of reach, as the dependence on staff for daily care becomes normalized. What might have once seemed like a temporary arrangement becomes a permanent fixture in the lives of many nursing home residents. Even though they may hold on to hope that they could one day return to their former lives, reality often sets in, and this hope fades as they become more entrenched in their current situation. The desire to leave can feel like a distant dream, as the circumstances that once seemed manageable, such as selling a home, arranging finances, or handling personal care, become overwhelming obstacles. Furthermore, there is often the emotional weight of not being able to go back to a previous life. This can result in feelings of loss, not just of physical space, but of identity, independence, and agency. Residents may feel as though they have been shut out from the world they once knew, and the thought of re-entering that world may seem daunting. The sense of disconnection from the life they once led can lead to feelings of isolation, frustration, and hopelessness. In conclusion, the path to nursing home care often closes the door on the possibility of returning to one's old life. With health issues, financial strain, and a loss of confidence, the dream of re-entering a life of independence becomes increasingly distant. While the transition into a nursing home may be necessary for health and safety, the reality is that many individuals are faced with the difficult truth that leaving is not an option. The life they once knew may be forever out of reach. The final message: nursing homes as institutions are not inherently bad. They can provide essential care, especially for individuals who need constant medical attention or those who have no family members available to support them. However, it is important to carefully consider what is being sacrificed when deciding whether to move into such a facility. The decision to enter a nursing home is often made with the best intentions, to ensure safety, security, and care for loved ones who may no longer be able to live independently. It's a choice that, for many, comes with an overwhelming sense of necessity. But the reality is that, in most cases, the cost of such a decision goes beyond just financial implications. Moving into a nursing home means giving up a significant portion of one's independence, privacy, and daily routines. It means losing control over many aspects of life that were once taken for granted, such as mealtimes, activities, and even the freedom to make small choices, like what to wear. Before making such an important decision, it's crucial to carefully evaluate the trade-offs involved. While nursing homes can offer vital medical services and assistance with daily living, they often come with a loss of freedom and autonomy. For many people, the idea of giving up these personal freedoms can be deeply unsettling. The loss of the ability to make even the most basic decisions about one's own life can result in a profound sense of helplessness and frustration. For those who value their independence and sense of control, this may feel like a step too far, one that they may not be prepared to take. Moreover, while nursing homes can provide a safe and structured environment, they may also lead to a loss of purpose and fulfillment. The daily routines in these facilities are often highly regimented, with little room for personal choice or engagement in meaningful activities. Without the ability to engage in tasks that give a sense of accomplishment, such as tending to a garden, cooking meals, or even taking care of one's own living space, the emotional and mental health of residents can quickly deteriorate. The loss of these simple yet significant tasks can lead to a sense of aimlessness and isolation, leaving individuals struggling to find meaning or motivation in their daily lives. Before making the decision to move into a nursing home, it's worth considering alternative options that could allow an individual to maintain their independence and dignity for as long as possible. In-home care services, for example, can offer a way to receive assistance with daily tasks while still remaining in the comfort and familiarity of one's own home. This option can allow for a level of flexibility and personal choice that is often not available in nursing homes. It also provides an opportunity to maintain important social connections with friends, family, and community, which can be vital for emotional well-being. In-home care can be tailored to an individual's specific needs, offering everything from assistance with personal care and household chores to medication management and medical monitoring. This approach provides the chance to live a more independent and fulfilling life while still receiving the support necessary to stay healthy and safe. The ability to make decisions about one's daily life, continue personal activities, and have a sense of control over one's environment can contribute to a greater sense of purpose and well-being. In conclusion, while nursing homes may be necessary for some individuals, they should not be the automatic or only solution. It is essential to weigh the potential loss of independence, privacy, and purpose against the benefits of institutional care. If possible, exploring alternatives such as in-home support can allow individuals to retain their freedom, dignity, and sense of purpose for as long as possible. It's a decision that requires thoughtful consideration, as the stakes are high, affecting not just physical health, but also mental and emotional well-being.